Hello and welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I'm Eric with EMS Now, and today we have a very exciting announcement to follow up with. Last week at Apex, Heller Industries and SEHO Systems announced a strategic partnership aimed at strengthening their global market position and leveraging their complementary strengths in electronics manufacturing. So we've brought together today four people who are all party to this partnership to share some insights about what it means for the companies and for the industry that they serve. Joining us today, we have, in no particular order, David Heller, the CEO of Heller Industries, Markus Walter, the CEO of SEHO Systems, Paul Lancaster, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Heller Industries, and Vivien Schöllkopf, the Head of Marketing at SEHO Systems. So thank you all for joining today and taking some time. I think this is a very exciting announcement, and I look forward to learning more about it here. David, why don't we begin with you? Let's start with maybe allowing you to give an answer the question, kind of what is the idea behind this partnership?
I think the idea goes back maybe 20 plus years. Heller and Seho have had a relationship for many, many years, and the thought of working together in some form or fashion has been discussed over the decades. And as the world has evolved, Marcus and I have stayed in touch, and more recently, we've both came to the conclusion that it would be a great idea for the two companies to begin working together.
Okay. So, Marcus, from your perspective, then, why is this the right step at this time?
I think we are in the middle of an increasingly uncertain global economy environment, and I see this as a right and the correct strategy that partnerships can make companies more resilient and competitive in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we are starting to see more partnerships within the industry in various fashions, and I think this is follows in that trend and is also a great example for that. Um, Paul, from the sales perspective, how did the strengths of both companies kind of come together?
Well, I mean, it's a very complementary type of products, right? We're offering a complete solution of soldering technologies from our reflow platforms to the selective and wave platforms that Seho offers. So, and I think we both have a real intense core focus on the customer and providing, innovative solutions. And, this, as Marcus indicated, it makes us more resilient in providing a more broader base of solutions for a very complementary product set in this electronics assembly industry. So for us, it's a win-win, globally. We'll leverage each other's, strategies and go-to-market techniques, which are essentially the same, with their strength in Europe, our strength in Asia, and basically augmenting our efforts here in the Americas.
Okay, that's excellent. So Marcus, then the announcement also mentioned in the press release last week that there'll be coordination of manufacturing activities, including in Asia. What does that really mean in practice?
I think Dave and I, we started that idea that we can use the Hella capacities in Asia 10 years ago, something like that. And we started with a small production in Korea. So Hella producing for us there a selective soldering machine for us for the Asian market. David has a nice picture last week. He said that was the dating period, and now it's time to go to bed. So we're starting now to make that relationship closer. And yes, I think it will be a good chance for us to bring our products more to the Asian market.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you've consummated the relationship. That's good to hear. Uh, and also with the Asian piece, it's interesting. So the Korea, and I know that Heller has the manufacturing as well in India, and which is a booming market there. Uh, so David, how does the partnership then help both companies address really the future of electronics manufacturing? Because this is an industry that's moving very quickly.
Right. I think that there's a very visceral level of appeal, and that is, both companies have different cultures, different strengths, and the opportunity for each group to learn from the other makes this a very, very attractive proposal. You know, from there, I think the most important thing is having each teach, learn, and then become a stronger team overall. And as you say, that there's a significant amount of change going on, but bringing both teams together makes us, I think, incrementally more responsive to our leading customers. It's great to be able to go visit a customer, listen to what they need, and be able to say, yeah, we can do that.
Mm. No, that's excellent. And Vivien, let's pull in from a marketing and strategic perspective. What makes this collaboration particularly valuable, in your opinion?
Yes, like Paul said earlier, our product portfolios are not in direct competition to each other. On the contrary, they complement each other quite nice. So this just opens up many ways how we can collaborate on the marketing side, such as events like the Apex last week. I mean, we shared a booth, we were co-exhibiting, and it went very well. And I think we're going to be seeing more of that in the future. And then maybe to look a bit ahead, also doing some joint initiatives such as tech days, where it's not just beneficial for us, but also for the customers, where they have like one single event and getting the most knowledge or the maximum knowledge from both companies. So I think it's going to be a win, win, and win. So yeah.
That's
True.
Yeah. And listen, I did want to follow up on the shared manufacturing activities. So does that mean that in either facility, both equipment for both SEHO and Heller will be being manufactured in the same actual facility? So if I were to walk into one of those facilities in the future, I could see both lines. Whoever wishes to
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, Eric, I think that you've brought up a good point that there will be flexibility here.
Okay.
And I think we all live understanding that one day we're going to wake up, read something in the paper and go, our world just changed. Be it tariffs or geopolitical uncertainty, to have multiple locations that could ultimately be dedicated to different products gives us great flexibility to be able to respond when the world changes again.
Yeah, and it will. Markus, anything to add to that?
No, I totally agree with David. And as I said, that it was the core point in our discussion we had at a starting point a couple of years ago. I think what we see is more and more challenges with coming up, if it is tariffs or if it's war or political insecurity. Supply chains problems is also a very important thing, what we was faced during the pandemic. So I think it is a good idea to have that partnership and have different locations where we can producing our machines worldwide to be resilient against all of that, what probably coming up in the future.
No, thank you. And so, Paul, both companies, as you indicate, they have complementary product segments, but kind of almost strengths in different regions. So, from a sales perspective, what opportunities does this create for Heller and SEHO in the future?
I mean, immediately, SEHO is based in Germany, and I would say that, we get challenged as a US company going into the German market or European market in the Western European countries. They tend to have a preference, but I think, the strength here is that we're going to offer a complete solution. Some of our competitors do offer both selective and reflow. And so this sort of counters that. It gives us a foothold into Europe, which is challenging for a US company. And then conversely, I think in Asia, we have a pretty good established, agents and channel there where I think SEHO can leverage that. And then, they can leverage our relationships with a lot of these accounts and, gain a foothold in that segment as well. So it works really well for us, gives us that European base that we need, gives SEHO a good Asia footprint that can help them as well.
Yeah. So this means that in the future, as people go to the big shows, they will be able to see you guys together in booths, sharing,
Mhm.
both demonstrating your equipment as you did at Apex, I assume.
Yeah, we intend to continue doing that. We've already talked about next year and some other minor shows coming up later this year. So, as Vivian indicated, it was really well received at Apex. Went exceptionally well. There wasn't any sort of issues with it, and we thought it was very synergistic overall.
Excellent. Well, listen, I think, yeah, as you said at the beginning, these types of collaborative relationships are really becoming more common in the industry. I think it speaks to the strength of the industry and how it's evolving too. And I think, two is stronger than one, and I think this is a great example of that. So I want to congratulate you both for bringing this together, for sharing it with us today, and I look forward to hearing more about it as it now has been consummated and is moving forward, to hear the successes as the years go on. So thank you for your time today, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all.